Okay. So the first case is where we're buying a car, and it's a new car, of course. That's where we're at right now. Depreciate 20% per year. Calculate the total depreciation over 2 years. So it should look something like this, right? So you figure out what 20% is the first year. That's 49.80. I'll give you a half a mark already if you have that number show up. 49.80 subtract, you get 19,920. You figure out 20% again, you get 39.84. You get another half mark for that if you have that already. And then combining these two, right, total is simply adding these two numbers. So 49.80 plus 39.84. And that would be 89.64. Okay, so if you have that number, that is the full mark. So even if you got these numbers wrong, if I see you adding them up, you get 1 out of 2 for sure. And of course, if you have 89.64, you get 2 out of 2. There's not even a question as long as you showed me some work. Okay. If the problem says show work, or if they say calculate, you must show work. In fact, you will not get full marks if you try to cheat the system. Like if you just come up with your final answer, that's a new thing this year. You have to show work. I don't think that's a problem. I think everybody understands that. The depreciated value is like how much is left, right? So you can, there's a number of ways. You can just take the 19,000, subtract this from it, and that's that. Or you can take the original, take away all of the loss, and come up with that. So I'm going to show my work this way. And you get 15,936. It's just worth 1 mark. And of course, if you made a mistake up on the previous answer, you still get the mark here if you show us this work, right? 24,900 minus whatever you got here, you still get the mark. And I'm going to just mention this right now. I think I did already. When I mark something, you may see a check mark followed by an R that stands for rounding, a U that stands for missing unit or wrong units, and N stands for notation. Notation is something like putting too many equal signs, like having a train going on, like this equals this equals this equals this, and you actually keep multiplying and adding and doing stuff, and things aren't equal to each other technically, then you lose half a mark. So every time you see this, that's half a mark deduction. However, you could have 20 of these on one page, and I will not take off more than 1 full mark on that page, because it's just not fair. After a while, it's just nonsense, right? It's like, wait a minute, you know what you're doing. It's just, you're just making rounding errors. Let's fix that, but not more than 1 mark per page, okay? On a test or quiz. I think you get the point after that. So just remember that every time you see that, take off half a mark, and then you'll figure out why you got that on that certain page, on that specific page. Next, you want to purchase a new Chevy for this much. There's some rust proofing, bed liner. This kind of gave it away, right? For the second page there, the questions I gave you. Freight and everything, trade-in, everything is there. Calculate the sticker price. Essentially, we're adding everything except for that. So we're going to I'm going to show my work. All right, and 1,500. So if you add all of that up, you get 38,850. You get a mark for that. I think that's all or nothing, except for if I can see what the mistake was. Maybe you forgot to transfer a 0. That's half off. Like if we can clearly see the mistake, then it's only half off. Calculate the total cost of purchasing the vehicle, including taxes. We're going to go 38,850 minus the trade-in. This step is going to be worth a mark. Okay, you taking off the trade-in before taxes is worth a mark, and then multiply that by 1.12. So you get 32,100 times 1.12. That's $35,952 exactly. So So that is acceptable. That is acceptable, but this is better. Okay? You're not going to lose any marks for having those 2 zeros there. And so keep that in mind. Another mark for the correct final answer. So let me just help you out with marking, because that's sometimes a challenge. If you added taxes, so this is what some students do. Don't write this down, but they go 38,850 minus 6,750 times 1.12. If you type that into your calculator is going to do BEDMAS, right? It's going to multiply and then subtract. So you're going to get the wrong answer. That's a -1 if you did that, okay? So you need to make sure you include the brackets in your work to get that mark. So what are we at on this page so far? Let me just, come on, cooperate. No? Not happening? Okay. For this page, it's 2 and 1, that's 3, 4, and another 2. We've got 6 on this page. And you're the teacher today. I'm not going to argue over a mark. We're not going to argue over half a mark. You're just going to put a mark down, okay? It's just to have a ballpark as to where you're at, okay? I'm only going to, if I check and see, you know what, that's completely wrong. Why are you giving yourselves full marks? That's the only time I might adjust it, okay? Next, state and explain one advantage, one disadvantage of buying new. Advantage could be lower maintenance cost. Lower maintenance, why? It has warranty, right? That would be, in my opinion, good enough. You're stating and you're explaining why. You could say you can customization, okay? You can choose options. That's good enough for me. Okay, you don't have to have a full-on paragraph if you don't want to. So that would be advantage. So if you have a good advantage, you get 1 mark already. For disadvantages, you could say higher depreciation costs. Higher depreciation, why? You lose most of the value up front. Okay, that could be one disadvantage. Another disadvantage is you pay for freight. That's a disadvantage as well. Are there any other ones? Not that I can think of, like that I mentioned. But anyways, 1 and 1, okay? List 2 options that can be added. A lift kit, right? Heated seats, roof rack. What else? Spoiler. There we go. Any 2 that are applicable, you give yourselves a mark for each, right? So 1 for each. So this back side is worth 4. So you've got 6 and 4, right? 6 front, 4 back. So we have 10 in total. So I want you to, somewhere on this piece of paper, I prefer at the top right, have a total mark out of 10 circled with your first and last name on there somewhere. Please put your last name as well, because my spreadsheet is it's organized by your last name, so it's easier for me to enter. And then